party and connect to my account, which is running on YouTube server. So it has to prepare for that live stream, and then it has to set up your YouTube live. And let's see if it works. And I'm going to click it just to see if it's working. Good, perfect. And I'm going to shut down the volume. We don't need to hear myself. Okay. So this is my point here. Today is Monday, April 20th. On the 22nd, Nika, is what? Wednesday. What are we doing?
The exam.
The exam. Everybody in person, even those that need special accommodations, will all meet me in the lab. Again, I suggest you come there early, 10 minutes early, so we can start right on time. Notice when we're online, it takes us a while till everybody gets their audio, gets their camera up. Hopefully you can get a seat and we can get started at that time. Isa, what I decided to take up is on the following Monday, we do class presentations of our project, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And what I thought for Wednesday is after you finish the exam, I'll have two proctors there with myself, Isa, and I thought if students wanted one of the TAs or myself to look at their project, we can even go into that little side room, you know, that we have there, Isa, and we can review the students' project if they want like an overview before they do their class presentation. What do you think about that, Isa?
Yeah, that sounds great. Nika, I was actually reviewing her project because we have a class together, so she was able to catch me right after, and I think
okay,
it was
but I think that
beneficial to
that's a
her.
good opportunity. Everybody understand what I'm saying then, Hunter?
Yeah,
that after you finish the exam, some people even finish a bit earlier, even if you have at that time, is that you can grab one of the TAs, and there should be at least a couple of TAs, one extra. You can grab them and say, hey, can you look at I have a question, or can you just review it? Remember, Ian, that you were asking a lot of times at the end of the class, can you review this? You can do it, or I'm having an issue on that. What do you think, Ian, on that aspect?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, so I was thinking, why not waste it? Because we really don't have, usually I say stay with me after class, but after the exam, you can't just say stay with me, because there's another class coming. But if you want to, come to one of the TAs and say, I'd like you to review my exam, and then they can take you, to another room and review and give you some feedback on it. I think that's an awesome idea that I think it worked out. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen. So we'll talk about what else we need to do. What's the rest of the semester like? And let me just put this away. And now, Nika, do you see my screen, Nika?
Yeah.
And what do you see?
YouTube live.
YouTube live. So you can see here the YouTube live running, and it's perfect on that end. And now let's go to our regular content. Let me just move over. And if I go to my regular content, let's go to what's due. So let me move this so I see exactly what you see, right? Because you remember we talked about roles. So let me turn my edit mode off so I see exactly what you see. Okay, so we talk about this, Nika, right? That the exam is this Wednesday in Stubberville 204. You should be continuing to improve your Wix website. You have here, we talked about it before, you have the reviewing guide, and everybody should have seen this, where you have your multiple choice questions and also your open-ended questions. And of course, you need to bring an ID, a Kane card, government ID, bring your laptop with an updated version of respondents, arrive at 3:25, so we can start right at 3:35. I can make an announcement, answer, a quick mini review, and then we can get on going. Because if you arrive late, you don't get the full time frame. Our exam ends at 4:45. If you have sanctioned, approved extra time, you need to let me know when you're coming in about that. We can seat you properly. Any questions about that? Put that in the chat, or you can unmic yourself about that. I think this is good. Okay, the next part is that's on Wednesday. The following Monday, and let me put this in, is your final project in class preparation. What I want, let's see this, it says audit, instructions, final project presentation. What I'm going to do is everybody is required to come to class. Let me just do this, audit instruction. This is the final project in class to the professor. And you need all team members must be present for the presentation. They call it presentation to the professor. This should be your final version. I'm just giving you feedbacks so you can do tweaks. You can get my assessment on how well I think you've done for the presentation. How many groups do we have in our audit area? Is it 10, Isa?
Yes, 10.
So it's 10 groups. We're going to start with group 1. So who's group 1? Isa, if you can be so kind.
Yeah, let me go check.
We will start from group 1 to group 10. Everyone is required to be in class. And what I'll have you do is you'll prepare a 5-minute presentation. It will be quick. You'll do 5-minute presentation basically about your company, who's on your team, what is your mission, and you will have, for reference, you can check group 0 in the audit area, and I'll do that in a moment. But your goals here is on your presentation, you want to ensure when you're going to present, your AI caller number works and it's posted a number of times. You have it described as your AI caller or your AI agent or your voice agent caller. Call us to our agent. You can give it the name. Ensure your website also looks good on mobile. So make sure that you go to your URL and look at it mobile. Ensure that all your links work properly. And you want to create a slideshow. You want that slideshow to be displayed with your company name, your URL. You should have your URL so it's clickable. One of the things you'll do is you'll quickly go over your slides, but the main 5 minutes should be, you can think about it, 2 minutes for the slides and 3 minutes for your presentation. In terms of that, you want to have in your slides your mission statement, who is the audience, who are your team members, what services, what apps you do, what your AI caller is, your SEO dashboard, your podcast. And on the last slide, that last slide should be one slide on what each member contributed to the project. So make sure the contribution slide is your last slide. So that'll be a last slide, person's name and what they've contributed. It's not long paragraphs. It'll be tasks that you did, and you present your project for feedback. And if I go to the audit area, under assignment groups, you can see then under group 0, right, everybody's group, and we've done this before, should already have your URL there as well. Plus, you should have on your group, you should have a folder called Final Project. So put that on the, it should be on the top, your final project, right? And in your final project, the way it'll be in your final project is part of your final project. If you go into this, you'll see that this is your PowerPoint. So you'll see this is your PowerPoint, any additional slides. And if you click on it, this was one of our students last semester. You can look at it. This was ready to launch your career. I would maybe not put by, maybe team members, something like that. Notice it doesn't say BTE210. It doesn't say final project. You want to make your slides look professional, as if you were going to be giving your slide deck to a group of investors. So here's ready to launch your career. She has a nice logo here, and here's team members. I would even change this and put our team or something like that of who was the team. Then she has the team here, meet our team. What is our mission? Your social media, you want to show some of your social media, what's available. So which ones you use. So in this case, this person, this group used then X, Instagram, and TikTok and LinkedIn. They have their services, webinars, peer support forum, 24/7 call. They have their AI and support services. So you can see it's like the AI tools, the resource guides, the bookings. And then they have a picture of their dashboard, what they did on their dashboard. They have their VAPI dashboard. This is a place in which then they were able, even in this case, they took a line of where they were using the chat so they could show that they were using VAPI. And this was the last one of how everyone contributed. What I like, Isa, is we show. You know, a lot of times you give instructions. What I like to do a lot of times is you have an example of this. Now we have an example of it. So you have an example of what the slideshow should be on a week from today on Monday, your presentation to me. Plus, you should have a URL, which I'm not sure can that should be here as well. Is there should be a URL. Can you send Isa, be so kind and send Lily a note that on her slides she should have her URL there, that she can add it. Perfect. That she can add that as well, because I think that's a good way for when you're presenting that someone can see it, that you can put it even, what do you think, even on the first page you could put it, you know, of a plate on the first line of where is your URL. So I would even, you know, maybe put it right here, or at least, and worst comes to worst, on the second page, you know, but it would be on that of a mission of what is the problem. Okay, so this is what I wanted. And then, so that is on April 27th, our presentation. I and our TAs will be giving you feedback. And what I suggest you do too is the way you can present, since it's only 5 minutes, you can assign maybe one person in the beginning to go over your presentation, but at least all your members discuss that last contribution slide, since we only have 5 minutes. Later on, once I give you this feedback, and let me go back to the audit area. Under group 0, final project, in your audit area, you will be giving you will let me know what corrections you made since the feedback since from that Monday. So if I said, change the coloring, or, one of your links didn't work, you can put here, corrected that link on podcast or something like that. You're going to do a final Zoom recording. So in this case, this is going to be 5 minutes on Monday once you get your feedback and you're going to submit your final project, each team member is going to do a final Zoom recording. And your final Zoom recording, you want to say who was present on that final Zoom recording. We assume that everyone will be there. And since it's going to be on Monday, you could possibly even do it on Tuesday. We'll have May 1st. We'll have it has to be uploaded by May 1st to make any of those changes, but some of you have little to do. And then you'll do your final Zoom recording. And of course, you'll record to the cloud with no password. And of course, you will have a final YouTube live stream link. And then you'll have an AI companion summary of your Zoom meeting, and you will have your final group presentations, your PowerPoint attached within this folder. Questions about what's going to happen on Monday for your class presentation, and what's going to happen once I give you feedback? You'll need to, if you want to, you make those corrections. If you don't want to, nobody's forcing anybody to do anything. It'll just be, you won't get a perfect perfect project, but you have to state if anything else we haven't discovered. And then you'll do that by May 1st, you'll have it all uploaded. And when you do your Zoom recording, it will be different than your presentation. I want you to take about 10 to 15 minutes to do that. 10 minutes may be a good middle there. And when you think about it, everybody in your group will participate in that recording. So it won't be rushed like I do. It will be as if no one knew about your project before. And it will be, in this case, a way in which you can think about it, that it's like a investor presentation. They don't know anything about you. You'll talk about what problem you're trying to solve. You'll be going through, what I suggest is each person can go a little bit of what they've done, talk about their videos, and it's a show and tell. So Roxy, do you understand that?
I'm a little bit confused.
Okay, what are you confused about?
So you're saying that the in-person, like the one on Monday, the 5-minute, like I'm confused. We're gonna have a separate recording already from a different, like just a presentation with our group, or
let's go step by step.
okay.
Monday, after the exam, right? You're finishing up your whole project. On Monday, you need to do a slideshow, just like I showed you what Lily did, right? Did you see that slideshow from Group 0? Did you get that part, Roxy?
Yes.
Okay. And what group are you?
I'm Group 1.
Great. So at 3:35, you got to make sure you're going to be the leader to get all the cats, get all the cats together and make sure that you come at 3, you're ready to go at 3:30. Because at 3:35, we want you to be on stage. And what does that mean? You're going to present to me and to Isa and to the whole class your project in 5 minutes.
Okay.
You'll have your slides with you. Not a lot of slides, but covering it over. And the main thing, you'll say, hi, let's say and you'll decide in your group who's going to do the main presentation, because it's only 5 minutes. but everybody in your group's going to need to be there because they'll be talking about one in terms of support. Let's say you're going to be doing it, Roxy. One in terms of support. Number two, to take down notes. If I'm going to say, this is really great, fix this, or I think this needs to be improved, this link didn't work, or you need to have more posts in social media, whatever I give you, whatever feedback I have, you've discovered it. And when you get to the last slide, what's the last slide, Roxy? Do you remember?
The contribution slide.
The contribution slide, you'll have each person talk about it.
Okay.
In a real short period. I'm Roxy, and these are the things that I did, and it says it right there. It's not going into part. And each person in your group said, I did my video, I did the social media, blah, blah, blah. That's it.
Okay.
And then after you finish, and even sometimes in between, I'll stop you and I say, this is, look, everybody look at what Roxy did. That's a great mission statement. You know what I mean? Or put it back into a ChatGPT or another's. This is not clear enough. Finished.
Okay.
Right? And hopefully you've done a great job and it really is, your project is complete. After that, we finished the last day of class. So all you have to do is prepare for your final upload of your project. And what does that include? Now that you got all the feedback and say, hey guys, now let's clean it up. I'm calling it almost like cleanup time. Isn't that great? Instead of Dr. Rush giving us a grade right now, she's giving us our final grade right now, because I'm going to be grading you on your project, on your presentation. But that project presentation is just going to be a small part, right? I'm giving you like a second chance to say, that's a B work, Roxy. And you say, Dr. Rush, we really want an A. Don't you want to have the best project, right? So I'm giving you little tips what makes an A project or what will make it better. You have that opportunity to make changes to it. Let's fix it up. Once we fix it up and you're happy with it, everybody in your group is happy with it, you say, okay, now let's get together group and do a recording.
Okay, that makes sense.
Do a recording that's really polished, looks good. Everybody is dressed, nobody is laying in their bed. You know what I mean? It's like what you want to do. Here we're a little casual, right? You don't have to dress up in suits, but you have to sit up straight, not laying down halfway as people, snoring or whatever. I'm making a joke. But anyways, you have to be in a way that you would want to do it. And you'll say, welcome, this is and go through the slides as welcome, as if you were presenting to a group of investors that didn't know you, right? Yeah. And then you go through not only the slides, but you want to show your website. You want to show off what we did. And we have the voice agent. We can do it to you, whatever it is. You want to set this up that you're not hemming and hawing and figuring out who goes first. You want to make it succinct, 10 minutes. Nobody wants to listen more than 10 minutes, but 5 minutes may be too short, right? You want to show, and everybody in the group should show off what they've done for the project, not just read that last slide, but show, hey, this is, listen to our podcast. You don't want to do a lot, but you want to talk about the podcast. Here, you don't have to tell me what the podcast is. We all know what it is, right? But somebody's never seen it. They don't know what that is. They don't know what a voice agent is. You want to call it. You want to ask it questions as if, who's on my team? What services? You want to ask it, what services do I do? Making sure it works.
Right.
And then I wouldn't even go into detail of who did what in the project, even on unless you want to, in certain, like, you may want to say it in a way not to make anybody, feel bad or anything. This is for evaluation. Here's our team, and this person really is into the podcasting. Maybe you want to fit it in that it doesn't sound like I don't want it to sound like a BTE project, final project.
Right.
I wanted to sound professional. We are AI consultants in this area. This is our new business that we want to do. We're happy to work with you, teach you, come give us your ideas and be open.
All right, thank you.
After you finish all that, you know you would have recorded it in what? In Zoom without a password. And at the same time, you would have done what, Roxy? Put it
YouTube
into
live stream.
YouTube Live that you've done already. And you may even describe that to them, right? And then you want to show your social media, even on your YouTube, and you say we can do webinars where we can do YouTube Live, whatever it is to showcase and brag about what you've done. 10 minutes, and everybody is prepared for it. It's not like, Roxy, you're the only one doing it and everybody's kind of hanging out and say, I agree. Right? That it'll be good for, and if somebody wants to say, Roxy, what have you done? You say, you know what, I can do a couple of things. I can give you my URL. I can give you my Zoom. Here's the link to my cloud Zoom, and here's the link to YouTube.
And when is that final like
Upload
due?
due. I'm making it due May 1st
Okay.
by 11:59.
Okay, thank you.
So that way you have a couple of days. You can make it earlier. You can upload. But this way I'm giving you a couple of days. That Tuesday, maybe for reading day, may be a good idea. And then I'll have Lily put that on our notes on the what's due for the May 1st. You know what I mean? The final upload. Does that clarify it, Roxy?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. And I appreciate it. That's what I like, Roxy, is that you can give me feedback and say, hey, we're rushing on it. What is what we need to do? Okay. Any other questions? I'm glad that we could modify that. So Nika, do you understand? So I wanted to be professional, you know, like anyone. Everybody's alert. Everybody's going to do it. So again, Roxy, what's my goal is that you can reuse this. The project. You can show off because people are now saying, what do you know about AI? Right? Isn't that going to be the common thing? Well, let me show you. Nobody else, very few people could do that, you know, just to say, I know Chat GPT, big deal, right? But that you can do this for it. Okay. Anything else? Okay. So why don't we do this? Isa, is what about Kahoot? What do you guys think? Roxy, what do you think? Let's do a Kahoot?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. And then I'll stay afterwards. We'll see how long this takes. And then I'll stay afterwards and answer anybody else's questions. And what we will do is now you know what to do is after the exam, you can go up to one of the TAs or myself and say, can you just look this over quickly? You see anything that we need to improve for Monday? Right. You can allow that to do and one of our TAs or myself, we can go into another little room to follow that. Okay. So, Isa, let's go for it.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you're sharing your screen. And what we see, Isa, as well, is we'll use this for attendance as well, right, on the Kahoot. So
Sure.
expect everybody to wait. Okay.
Can you see the pin?
I see the game pin, yeah.
Okay, great.
So we got a couple of people. We got one person, okay? Everybody knows how it is. And we'll wait for about 30 seconds or so to we have 34 students coming. So we'll see how many we get. What I would like you to do is do me a favor, put in your last name too. So because we have a couple of Avas, we know what Avas is. So go back and change it that you have I just don't know Ava as the clown or Ava as the bear or whatever. So make sure, because we're going to use this for attendance. Also, we'll give awards for the top attendees. So make sure you have your entire name on it. Okay.
Will you post this to the
Well,
class
we'll
page?
see. We'll see. But hopefully we're doing a recording. We're definitely recording now. So hopefully we will. But make sure that everybody has put that up. So make sure we got that Ava. I have one Ava. And make sure that I don't have Right, I have everybody's last name. Okay, so how many people have we registered so far?
27.
27, okay. So if you don't register, you don't get attendance. Just so you know. So we'll leave another 30 seconds. How many people do we have?
28, 29, 30.
Okay. So we're missing 4 people that don't want to participate. They will not get attendance. That's why we also want to make sure that you have your last name as well.
Professor, if you can give me one more second, it's just it wouldn't work for my computer, so I'm just going now to my phone to use it,
Okay,
if you don't mind.
so hopefully. So let me know, Brennan, when you get on.
Yes, ma'am, I'm on. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So we gave everybody a chance to do it. This will be part of our attendance, and we said that there'll be prizes for the best. Okay. So we'll see who gets anybody think they're going to be number 1? Any ideas? Okay. So you always have to think you are. So we're going to do it question by question. And so we'll get feedback on how everyone did. And I'll explain, especially when you ask, and also when I see that there seems to be some issue. Okay. All right. So Isa, go for it. Three, two, one. We should have drums here. Okay. Okay. So machine learning systems are often used blank to learn from data. So we're talking about machine systems. And is that going to be expert systems, fuzzy logic, neural networks, or genetic algorithms? So we get in this case. So the most said 19, and the correct answer then is, Isa?
Neural networks.
Neural networks. So the idea here, a lot of people said expert systems. The difference between, it's a good idea. The difference between expert systems is expert systems does like rules, and it takes from the expert. Let's say I'm the expert, I feed in my data, and then we mimic the expert. It's not learning. It's not correcting itself because my knowledge is not correcting anymore. Neural networks, it acts like the brain in neurons, and what it's trying to do in parts of machine learning is getting better each time. So you remember, I'll have a number of factors that I'll put into neural nets. Let's say who is going to most succeed at the university for admissions. And then later on, when I see that it's not completely accurate, it will change the weights of all the factors. So maybe we were putting up too much weight for, let's say, where students came from, and maybe we should put more weight on their GPA, or maybe we should put more weight on their extracurricular activities. Good. Next. Okay. So we got a lot of people got the same score. Okay, what's next? 2 of 30. Which of the following is a characteristic of AI? Okay, this is good. 1 is difficult and expensive to duplicate, low creativity, erratic and inconsistent total cost of knowledge, and knowledge isn't preserved well. Right away, I know the knowledge is preserved well. So in this case, what the book said was low creativity. as I mentioned, we'll go by what the book says in terms of the multiple choice. But as I said, AI is getting to be more creative. Okay. Next. Okay. Okay, 3 of 30. With the blank model, cloud computing providers offer remotely accessible servers, networks, and storage capacity. So this is either infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, LASS, and software as a service. So in this case, we got this wrong. So this is the case. With the model, cloud computing offers remotely what? Infrastructure are servers, infrastructures are network, infrastructures are storage. So the I stands for infrastructure. Think about it. It's things that you can basically are like hardware or things that are being stored. Software as a service doesn't think about your Gmail or think about Zoom or think about Instagram. Those are software. But when I see servers, networks, and storage, I know it's infrastructure. I know it's hardware. Next. Okay. True or false? A byte is the smallest unit of data a computer can process. So it's either going to be true or false. I don't have one thing about true or false. I got a 50% chance I'll get it right? In terms of that. I even got in terms of that. And we talk about, remember we talked about a byte. What is a byte? A character. So in this case though, a byte we can think about is false because the smallest unit of data, right, is going to be then that byte is a 0 or 1, which is a bit. So a byte already has a character. The smallest unit is basically an on and off switch. Good. Next. Go to next. Okay. Analytics, you can already show the multiple. Analytics examines recent and historical data to detect patterns and predict future outcomes and trends. So as soon as you bring the cards, bring up the multiple choice too. So what kind of analytics examine recent and historical data to detect patterns? So to predict, and the key here is predict, right? Future outcomes and trends. Okay, let's go next. Okay, and you can show the choices.
It doesn't let me, yeah.
Okay, oh, it goes by the data means all applications are able to access the same data, which is blank by databases. So means all applications are access the same data, which is blank by database. So let's see if I go to it. 14 and think about it is data independence means all applications are able to access the same data, which then is maximized by databases. So I increase that because it's going to be independent. So it's not going to be in a silo. Everybody can see it. Next. Okay. Big data primarily deals with what kind of data? Big data then, is it semi-structured, structured, and unstructured? Unstructured means that it doesn't have fields that you can put in into a spreadsheet easily. Structured, a good example of structured would be my grade book. So in this case, they have all of the above, which big data would be using, right? Sometimes it's structured, like in the stock market. Sometimes it could be unstructured, like a lot of videos. Next. cyber criminals. What can they do about it? Our violent criminals can easily be arrested once they're found. Target known software. Security weaknesses don't make much money. They can do it for fun. Even the distractors are so easy to eliminate, right? That I could even guess what it is. And this is that. So let's go to target known software security weaknesses, right? That's what they're looking for. Where is like the empty hole? Was just like, go ahead to next, just as if my house, if I leave the keys in the car, I can just see that and I can drive off. Okay. Phishing, right? Not with the F, but with a PH is an example of what? So phishing when they're sending it out. Is it a software attack, sabotage, espionage, and copyright infringement? What I would do when I take out those, when I would take your test, is eliminate those that really are just distractors, right? That I can think about. It's not that I can think about it and it's a software attack, right? Number 2, copyright infringement, I could take that out, right? Okay, next. Okay, is the possibility that the system will be harmed by a threat. So these are the things that you needed to know. What's the difference between exposure versus a threat versus vulnerability? And basically is the possibility that the system will be harmed. So it's basically thinking about that possibility is the key here. I would underline possibility and that vulnerability. Most people got that. Perfect. Next. Okay, cloud computing, which means a customer can access needed computing resources automatically. So then we got to think about it is, think about, here's the key, customer can access. So this is an easy one when I think about what can the customer do. So I can see it provides on-demand self-service, because what are they trying to do? Is they're dealing here with the customer. And what's the key? On-demand self-service. I can ask it anytime I want. That's the key. All right. SaaS, software as a service, is a type of what kind of computing? So basically I have to think about it is software as a service. What type of computing would I have software as a service? No. So you need to know, you'll see SaaS, you'll see PaaS, you'll see infrastructure, and you know that in this case is a utility of what I can do. I can get some utilitarian type of process from that. Next. 13 here. What is not a benefit of virtualization? So I have to figure out what is, and it's not. A lot of times there is. And that virtualization, what does it mean by virtualization? Is many times in hardware, I can basically break down hardware to other computers and use different operating systems, different platforms on it. So in this case, redundancy then is not a benefit of virtualization. Next. Public clouds. Public clouds then are still password protected, but they don't have as much security as private. So public clouds, then I have to know how they're accessed, right? And in this case, what would be its advantage in the public cloud? And in this case, it can be accessed through the internet. Of course, that's how you get to a public cloud. How do you get to your Gmail, right? You're going through a public cloud. Next. Okay, I'm 15 of 30, so I'm halfway through. So in this case, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, shift IT, which traditionally has been in-house from what kind of expense went, which means IT is. So is it, it's talking about, in this case, capital, but what is the difference? In this case, capital to an operating variable rather than fixed. Why? As much as I use, then I pay for it. So it's not like I'm going to buy 20 computers and I'm stuck with it. That's fixed. It's fixed what I do. This is going to be varied. My capital operating, basic capital to operate is going to vary based on what, Roxy? How much I use. If I don't use a lot, I'm going to pay less. But I can't say it. If we have to buy 10 computers, that's already fixed cost. That's already dumped in. And it doesn't care if I used it a little amount or a large amount. Let's go to next. These are good questions. This time, I think better than the first time. Which of the following is a characteristic of natural intelligence? So natural intelligence instead of artificial intelligence. You remember, I always like to have more artificial intelligence, but what can I do as a human, natural intelligence that's different from AI? And it's that gap is getting smaller and smaller. But in this case, difficult and expensive to duplicate and disseminate knowledge. I have knowledge. How am I going to get it into the system? That's going to be difficult. In AI, everybody uses it, right? Next. Expert systems, blank, replace human experts by applying expertise in. We talked about that. An expert system, is it a large domain or a small domain? It's usually a small domain, right? That we're dealing with an expert system, right? Let's say offshore taxes. So in this case, basically, expert can by applying to a specific domain. Perfect. Next. The majority are getting it. Okay, 18, an expert systems, basically, blank, it's composed of facts and rules. So basically, it's going to have what? That's going to be their facts and rules. And that's the key expert systems that basically, what are we going to try to get from that expert? Knowledge. They are in that knowledge base. I put in the expertise of a knowledge base. Everybody understand? Perfect. Next. 19. Neural networks usually involve blank a number of processes operating in. Okay, so the key here, it seems smaller versus larger. The neural networks, do they use a small number of processors or large? And also, are they in real time or they're parallel? What does it mean parallel? That basically the idea a neural networks involved in a larger number of processes operating in real time, meaning that I can get it now, that I don't have to worry about it in batch. Okay, next. Intelligent agents. Remember we talked about intelligent agents often use what? Behind the scenes. And in this case, what is intelligent agents then use behind the scenes? Are they either behind the scenes fuzzy logic or expert systems? And in this case, expert systems agents often use expert systems and fuzzy logic. What does it mean, fuzzy logic? Fuzzy logic is that I can't tell a number to, it gives me approximation. I'll give you a good example for fuzzy logic. You go to a club and you say, I want somebody good looking. That is fuzzy. I want somebody tall. That is fuzzy, right? Tall for me may be 5'6". Tall for you may be 6'2", right? So that's in fuzzy logic. Next. 21. Okay, blank are often populated with data from source data automation technologies such as barcode scanners. So basically, what are often populated with data from the source data automation such as a barcode scanner? What is that going to be? A DSS, an ERP, FAIS, or TPS? And it's TPS. So basically, you remember transaction processing system? You remember I told you like Publix, like CVS, every time you scan it, it creates a transaction processing system. Next. 22. Which of the following is not a requirement of TPS, transaction processing system? This is a not. So in this case, this is the not have. You have to spend on what is not a requirement for a TPS. And what I would do is, it's a not is I would remove exactly when you're taking in between two, then I reduce my probability. And in this case, must maximize downtime is not a requirement. Next. 23. Reports are produced at scheduled intervals. So what is produced at scheduled intervals? Not just when I want to have it, or not when something goes awry, I want to report, but what would be its scheduled intervals? Payroll, right? At the universities every time. The routine, right? That's going to be scheduled intervals. Perfect. Next. Okay. Exception reports. In exception reports, it's exactly the opposite, right? That there has to be some exceptions. I may want to have exception reports when I want to get those students that are failing my class and the majority are not, or I want to have an exception student that every time this person is getting 100, I want to have it. So in this case, include only information that falls outside certain threshold standards. Give me everybody above 98 and give me everybody below 60. Perfect. Next. ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, address information silos, because I don't want to have just different departments and I can't share my information. So ERPs address that information silo, and information silo means data that's only kept by a certain department and can't be shared. That's what ERP tending to give us. It wants to give us an overall view. It wants to integrate all functional areas. Next. (26 out of 30) business analytics answers what question? So we talked about business analytics answered what question of what actions are needed, what happened, where is the problem, what is the best or worst that can happen. So in this case, what question can business analytics address? And in this case, what is the best that can happen? What is the worst that can happen that I can talk about? That's business analytics wants to answer the question so I can make the best decision in the future. Next. Data mining helps explain how it happened, what happened, why it happened, or when. So basically, what does data mining do? It takes my data from the past and tries to find patterns in that data. So what it would be, why it happened. So data mining is going to help me of why it happened. Next. Multidimensional analysis is also called. What is multidimensional analysis called? So what I want to think about in a specific spreadsheet, what I want is many dimensions, just not 2 dimensions. What I want is being able to drill down and drill up. I want to get more data, so this is called online analytical processing. So this online analytical processing, many times in Excel, it's called pivot tables. It's basically I drill down, drill up. Next. 29. In the past, BI, that stands for business intelligence, was used to support, and this is in the past. Who was it used to support? For business intelligence, when it first came out, that idea, it was like a big hit. Even it became the biggest hit like AI is now. It's basically giving me more intelligence in the business, and it traditionally was just for the top managers. And now that computing is for many levels of management. So not only my top managers, but my middle managers, my beginning managers, just my workforce in general. Next. This is the last one. Which of the following is not a KPI, a key performance indicator? Which of the following is not a key performance indicator? So basically, in a company, what I want to see is those areas in which I can perform better. And in this case, it's product quality. And in this case, it's not, I can't tell what the quality of my product is, but I can tell its cost. I can tell its return on investment. I can tell objectively my overhead. But it's difficult for me to tell the quality. I can tell in this case, the university, the studies of what GPA it was, right? What were the costs? What were the return on investment? But the product quality is not easily tested by KPI. Okay, next. Kahoot. And the third, what do we got here? Zema, congratulations. Zach, congratulations. And number 1 is who? Ava. Okay. So Ava, Zach, and Zema. Fantastic. So come to me after class, after the test. And we'll see what we have. Okay. Thank you, Isa, for presenting it. Did a great job. And we're set. Any questions? Do you want to have the attendance anyways, Isa? Let's do it anyways, Isa.
Yeah, we can if you'd like.
Yeah, let's just do a quick code for the attendance.
$6101.
Okay. And then everybody can do the attendance as well. And then we'll have later on, we'll post the Kahoot link. I'll have Lily post the Kahoot link since people want it so you can review it. Okay. Does that answer everyone's question about the link? We'll have that posted. Zema, congratulations. Okay.
My computer's like being glitchy and I don't see like a number in the chat.
I'll
Okay,
take
so
it.